Welcome back to our city. I'm pleased to be joined the second half of the show with Tony Zingaro, the CFO of the City of Elizabeth. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Maris. Pleasure to be here.
You know, Tony, last week the Board of Education voted to increase municipal taxes by more than $1.4 million. And you and I have been working on this and trying to figure out the rationale on why they would do this. What does this mean to the average taxpayer?
Well, the average taxpayer bill will be increased approximately $65 on an annual basis. The taxes for the Board of Ed are normally $37 million. They'll be jumped up to about $38.5 million.
And Tony, how did this increase come about? We just found out about it last week.
Right. The Department of Education reduced state aid by $1.5 million to the Board of Ed with the proviso that the City of Elizabeth raised taxes by $1.4 million.
But we can't find anything in the law. I mean, the Board of Education never bothered to tell us about this.
No, that was a total surprise. And as you said, we found out about it in their advertised budget.
And the Board of Education got a letter on February 27th, I believe, puts an advertisement of a budget in the Star Ledger, and then votes on it on Thursday night with very little other public notice. Right. And here we are trying to fight back for the taxpayers' benefit in holding back this tax increase.
Right. I've seen no action on a Board of Ed as far as lobbying against this tax increase. And in fact, there was no mention to the city that this was coming down the road. You know, I have a problem with this increase. I was looking at their surplus reserves, and in the last 2 years, 2005 and 2006, they estimated a surplus at year end of approximately $6 million. Their actual surplus, audited surplus, came in at around $22 million, which meant they had a $16 million surplus for each of the last 2 years on reserve. Using their estimate for this year of $5 million, by comparison, the projected number should be about a $20 million surplus. And as you said, I've seen nothing in the statutes that would preclude them from using that surplus to offset this tax levy increase.
Well, as you know, the City of Elizabeth is looking for a way to go to court against both the Elizabeth Board of Education and the State Board in this decision, which has been arbitrary and capricious.
Exactly. And if the Board of Ed passes on April 17th, this budget, again, the annual increase is going to be about $65, and that's going to start off in the August bill this coming year. And the Board of Education makes up about 20–25% of the annual bill that the taxpayers have to pay. So it's a huge increase, and we'll be fighting it on our end.
Yeah, so you would be urging the voters to vote no on the school board budget on April 17th.
Absolutely.
Tony, the Board of Education reserve of $22 million, if they would anticipate $6.4 million in surplus as opposed to $5 million, there'd be no tax increase, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we're going to be fighting for.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of if they would anticipate, and we know they have it because their audited figures have been in excess of $22 million.
For the last 2 years, right, they've had a decrease of about $16 million shortfall. According to them, the actual numbers have come in $16 million higher. So
yeah, in our conversations with the state of New Jersey, they have claimed that they have sort of cut a deal with the Board of Ed that if they raise it by taxes, their books won't get audited. But we know that the Elizabeth Board of Education has been currently under an audit from the state as well as the federal audit, which should be released soon, showing them wasting money.
Yes, I believe, and it's been no secret in the past they've been spending money for political advertisements, etc. So again, we're going to be fighting this, Department of Education and the Board of Education, Elizabeth Board of Education, and I have to urge the voters to vote against the budget on April 17th.
Yeah, and the state's going to come in and have to tell them that this is unacceptable. If they just anticipate more surplus, they wouldn't have to raise the taxes to the citizens.
Right. I mean, if they're going to come in at a $20 million surplus at the year end, by the trend for the last 2 years, they surely could come up with $1.5 million. And what's more surprising is that they haven't lobbied or even haven't made any effort to reduce this tax levy. So
they should.
They should, absolutely. And
And the
voters
state,
should,
the state
you know,
suspended them from to the tune of excess of $100,000 for wasteful spending.
for the advertising, political advertisements that's been going on.
Tony, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this evening.
Well, it's my pleasure, Mayor. It's an important issue for the citizens to get out and vote on April 17th, and we'll be doing all we can behind the scenes to try and avert this tax increase.
I want to thank Tony Zangaro from the CFO of the City of Elizabeth for joining us on the second half of the show. I especially want to thank Father Esterminio Chica for his very moving story of how he came into this country illegally and now is a priest at St. Mary's in the City of Elizabeth, not only helping the people of his village in El Salvador, but the immigrant community here in the City of Elizabeth. I wish Father Chica well in all of his ministry. I'm Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City,